welcome back to my channel. So my original plan was to actually get this video up on October 1st, start the month of Halloween out with a bang, but I was not 100% happy with the way in which this makeup look ended up turning out. There was a few details I wanted to change, and you know what? For the first Halloween look of the month, I wanted it to be perfect. So this is my second attempt at the makeup. But hey, that's okay, practice makes perfect. So today we are gonna be recreating the NUN makeup. I am so excited. I wanted to start the month of Halloween makeup out with a bang. I have a lot more planned. This week kind of got away from me, but I have a ton more that I'm planning to put out for you guys. I'm hopefully gonna be able to do at least 2 a week. And if you have any suggestions of makeup looks you want me to do, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Alright, so we are gonna get started, and I'm gonna start with blocking out the brows. Now this is only gonna be my second time attempting this, so I am no pro, but I'm gonna scoot you guys a little bit closer and we're gonna get started with that process. Now the tools you're gonna need is pretty simple. You're gonna need some Elmer's glue, you're gonna need some translucent setting powder, a puff to pack on that powder, and of course a spoolie to run the glue through the brows. But what you want to do is just really run the glue through your brows, get it really in between all the hairs, pressing up the eyebrow hairs, laying them flat up, just kind of following where the hairs would go out. It's kind of like creating feather brows in a way. At least that's what it reminds me of. And then you let it dry a little bit. More than likely you didn't get it all in one try, so it is going to take a few coats in order to fully press down the brows. So what I'm going to do now is take my little puff, take some translucent setting powder, and just start pressing it on. And once you have the first layer on, it's a little bit easier to tell if there are some areas of the brow in which are still standing up, where it looks like you need just a little bit more. So just once more, take that glue stick, run it over, wait for it to dry down a little bit more where it's not so sticky, and then one more layer of powder just to set. I think that looks pretty gosh darn good. So we are just gonna leave it as this. And we're gonna move on to the second step, which I am so excited about. This year I got some new face paint. I got my hands on the Maroon Paradise Pro face paint palette. It has 30 colors. This is a water activated paint, so I'm just taking a little bit of water and taking my brush into that white. And I'm using my Sigma Round Kabuki F82 brush. And I'm just gonna start working this all over the face. Last year I had the dupe for the Makeup Forever Flash palette. It was one by CC Beauty. They had it on Amazon. And that face paint, I was not happy with. It was a grease paint and everything just slipped and slid. It felt so nasty on the skin. It felt so oily, so I was not happy with that, and I'm so excited I got some really good face paints for this year. I think if you want your makeup to last all night, if you're planning to do a kind of cool face paint for Halloween, 100% invest in good face paints. One thing is that you want to avoid the eyes and the mouth area. I kind of went a little bit over the lips on accident there. But you don't want to put this directly on those areas because they say you shouldn't. So, and either way, we are going to be putting different products on there. We're not going to be using face paint. Now that you have a pretty even white base, you want to take an eyeshadow primer. I'm taking the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in Eden. We are going to be taking a gel liner on the eyes, so that is why I'm setting this base. Just so the gel liner will want to stay put a little bit longer and you won't get any creases. I'm going to be taking the Pretty Vulgar gel liner with my Sigma Precision Flat P80, and I'm just going to start packing this on the lid. And this is where You do not need to have a lot of precision. I'm just really packing this on. I am going to do one eye at a time because I did find that this product does dry pretty easily. So do not attempt to do two at the same time. You may get a little bit messy. And then I'm taking just a e.l.f. brush. I think this was a crease brush, and I'm just starting to kind of buff out these edges a little bit. While it's still wet, it's a little bit easier to work it out. Otherwise, it's going to dry down and be very difficult to work with. I'm then just going to take a flat eyeshadow brush. This is actually the other end of the ABH brushes that come in the little palettes. And I'm going to run this along the under eye. The other brush is a little bit large, so I have found that it's a little bit more difficult to maneuver under the eye. And then I'm actually going to take the other end of the brush, which has the little fluffy part, start blending out the edges. And while I'm at it, I just took a little bit of that product and just kind of blended it down here. There is some shading that is on the nun's face, so just took a little bit down just right there. But then I'm just going to repeat that same process to the other eye. Nothing new here. Then once the second eye is kind of all blended out, you want to bring this part in a little bit, blend into it, because the nose is so crooked. There is a little divot that starts to form right here. So if you just take a little bit in and blend it out. Now I'm just taking this kind of thin paintbrush, dipping into the black face paint, and we're just gonna start kind of painting out some patterns around the eye. So there's just some swirls that come up. There we go. Oh, actually, before we keep moving on, I am going to take a little bit of eyeliner. This is the Marc Jacobs Highliner. I'm just going to start putting this in the waterline, and it kind of helps get rid of that natural skin color that's poking through. The only thing is when using this one, oh my goodness, this will not want to come out. Even at the end of the night when you want it to come out of your eyes, it will not want to budge. So if you're planning on rocking this all night, this is a great eyeliner. All right, now going back to that little painting step, just starting to draw out some of these lines. It looks like there's one that goes down the eye, kind of waves out there. And there's a lot that looks like little tiny ones, just kind of going out the eyes. So I'm just going to be adding a couple of these lines a little bit all over the eyes right now. Another one that just starts over the left eye. I'm just kind of sporadically placing these lines. Just placing a couple wherever I want. And what I also found that I kind of like the design of is taking the paintbrush and just the very tip of it and just creating a couple dots here and there. And then fingertip diffusing those out. It adds a little bit of texture where maybe it looks a little bit too smooth. Just, you know, little details can make a difference. And there we go. And now I'm gonna move on to the nose. All right, there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm gonna be taking the vintage Step 3 brush. And I'm taking my Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Quad. And I'm just going to be taking this shade right here. So I'm going to start right here, bringing in that color just a tiny bit. Now there is a large bump that looks like forms on the nose. So I'm just going to start curving it out like so to give that kind of crooked nose effect. And then I'm just going to start from the back little curvature of the nose and just start kind of working that color up to meet this part where we kind of stopped. Since this nose is so large and has so many curves to it, you gotta give the illusion. And then I'm taking that same brush and just kind of dragging down the color a little bit to blend things out. And I'm just taking that same shadow, just taking it down a little bit on the sides of the nose here. It kind of helps give that illusion of a much larger nose and larger nostrils. And my nose is tilted up quite a bit. If you have a nose that points down, it's going to be a little bit different from you. But I'm going to take this same shade and just take it right above where my nostril sits. And I'm going to try to change my nose shape a little bit, give it a little bit of a finer point like the Nun has. I'm just going to kind of meet down here. Again, just kind of start blending things out. But then I'm going to take a little bit of a larger paintbrush and I'm just going to start kind of filling in the nostrils. And then I'm just taking a little bit more shadow on the same brush, kind of creating those lines to be a little bit deeper so you can really tell where everything is supposed to be shaped. Let's do the same to the other side of the nose. And then for me, I'm just kind of shading out the nose down here since my nose is so upwards. Just trying to create the illusion that, you know, it's more seated down. And I think I want to bring down just the point of the nose just a tiniest bit. I think I went a little too high with it. So what I'm doing is just taking a tiny bit of that maroon face paint. I wet my finger just a tiny bit, dipped it into the paint, and then I'm just lightly pressing where I want it to go. And now that we have done a proper nose job, I'm gonna take a black liquid lipstick. So I'm just gonna really messily start applying this on the lips. I'm not even trying to do any kind of shape. We're gonna do this in kind of layers. I'm gonna take the e.l.f. brush one more time, start patting things out. I mean, the lips just look like they have been smeared around. Kind of comes up a little bit here on the left side of the mouth, a little bit higher, and then a little bit down here on the bottom right side. I'm just taking a little bit more of that liquid lipstick, patting that out once more, taking that liquid lipstick, doing a couple more dots down here. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a finer blending brush. I'm going to take this one. This is the Step 2 by the Vintage. Just start working that all the way. Just going to start bringing down a little bit of color here, just putting a couple dots. And anything kind of left over in the brush, I'm just kind of bringing it down, creating a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of face paint on that same kind of paintbrush. I'm gonna create a couple more dots here. Again, I like the texture, just patting that out. Then the lips also has one of those lines kind of coming out right about here. So I'm just gonna draw that. And then on the opposite side here, it looks like it has a line that kind of goes down like so. Now I am using a different reference image than just the movie itself. It was kind of difficult to get a really good picture online. So I'm using a drawing version, which I think is a lot more descriptive. It's a little bit more animated, so it's a little bit easier to work from. So I'm also gonna take a little bit of this paint, just kind of paint along there like just our normal chin line. I'm building down a little bit of shadow from it, and then creating another little line right about here. And then taking the ABH brush, kind of running it along there, giving it a little bit more shadow. I want a little bit large there, so I'm just kind of trying to round it out a little bit here. There we go, a little bit better. Then I'm just gonna be continuing along, taking the Step 2 brush one more time, and I'm gonna start giving myself a little bit more of a skeletal jawline. So I'm just starting back here where you can feel your cheekbone. I'm just dragging it down and just starting to curve it out, bringing it down like so, starting to blend it down. And then once you like where it's kind of blended to, I'm just really diffusing that out. I'm gonna go in with the Step 3 brush, giving it just a really fine definition. You can really see that line. Adding just a little bit more color just right here in this hollow. Then same process to the other side. We're nearing the end now, and I'm gonna go back with this fine pointed paintbrush into the face paint. And what I want to try to create is just some lines right here. what I want to do is take a little bit of this face paint right up here, and what you want to do is kind of give that angry facial expression. So you're just going like crunch your eyes together and you get a little bit of a roadmap there. It'll be a little easier to fill in. And you gotta think she's not happy. And not only that, we want to create some of these lines that just come up on the sides of the eyes. So just kind of crinkle it together. Start drawing those little crow's feet, I'm pretty sure they're called. She also has a really deep set kind of wrinkle in her forehead. Take my little EVH blending brush, kind of blend out that little wrinkle, and then in contrast just create a couple more. Again, blending those out. Now, my face is a little bit rounder where she has a little bit more chiseled. So I'm going to be taking more of that black shade from the Kat Von D palette on my e.l.f. brush, and I'm going to try to give the illusion of a different jawline. So I'm going to start out here, start kind of bringing it down. She's got a little bit of a rounded out edge right about here, and it thins out. She has a very thin chin as well. I'm just trying to create that illusion like my jaw and chin is very pointy and a little bit thinner and not as round, which it definitely does help to really change the chin if you create that kind of hollow just right about there. I'm also just going to darken up under the chin as well. Just kind of helps with the illusion, that way you don't see that white space underneath. I'm also going to take just a little bit of that color and kind of go around the perimeter of the face. Give it a little bit of contrast. Because you also want to think about what headpiece that you have on. If you have one that goes down and the little chin strap, you'll be fine. But if you purchase one from Spirit Halloween, that's where I got my headpiece from, it sits right here and a little collar thing that goes right about here. So I have to think about how mine's gonna sit a little bit different in comparison to the nun's actual headdress. There we go, looking good. And I kind of want to create this to be a little bit meaner, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the black eyeshadow, just start kind of blending in a little more shadow. I want to give the illusion of a mean mug. And then if there's any last lines you want to create, like I want to create another line that just kind of goes down right here. Same with a tiny one that just goes right here. And then just creating coming down like so, little branching lines a bit here and there. This creates a little bit more design element. And then since my little collar is going to sit really low, I want to take a little bit of the face paint and create some lines right here, just like some little neck wrinkles coming in. Patting and blending that out again with that same blending brush, so that way when you're looking down like so, it just looks like there's a lot of wrinkles down there. It is a lot of tiny details that you have to do, but this end result is pretty gosh darn cool. And then I'm also thinking I want to do just some lines right here, just like so. Blending them out. And then looking at the reference image one more time, there's a couple more details I want to do. It has a line that just goes right down the tip of the nose. And then I want to bring these lines around the mouth just up a little bit higher. So I'm just going to kind of do like a big smile and just follow the natural curve of my mouth. Bring those up a little bit higher, patting them out a little bit. And I want to give just a little bit more darkness and depth to the chin, the jawline, and the cheekbones here. So I'm just going to take a Makeup Geek Defined Crease Brush, and I'm just going to bring the color a little bit darker here. So I'm just continuing to kind of chisel things out here, darkening up these lines. Doing the same to the cheekbones. It's definitely a little bit more difficult when you're trying to recreate someone else's face onto your face. If you're just creating, you know, a look completely out of thin air, it's a lot easier, but you really want to make sure you get the features kind of right, which I think now I am done. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my little headdress, the collar. I'm gonna zoom you guys back out and you can see the final look. Oh man, you guys, I love the way this look turned out. I'm so happy I decided to do a second attempt at this. I feel like this is exactly where I wanted to be the first time around. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed it, and if you plan on doing this for Halloween, hopefully I helped. If you do decide to recreate this look, please tag me on Instagram. I'll put my little handle up on the screen. I'd love to see your guys' Halloween creations, and make sure you stay tuned for the month of October. I plan to do so many more Halloween looks. I have so many ideas in mind. There's gonna be a new one every week, hopefully maybe 2 times a week. Maybe even 3, I don't know, we'll see where this goes. I have really high expectations because I just love October. October is Halloween for me, the entire month. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell button. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.